Have you ever thought about an ecosystem that's more productive than a lush green pasture, more vital to our economy than we even realize, and yet it's kind of hidden in plain sight? Well, today we're going to dive into the secret world of the estuary.
So let's kick things off with a pretty simple question, but one that has a surprisingly complex answer. What actually happens where a river meets the sea? And spoiler alert, the answer's way more interesting than just they mix. It's the birthplace of a totally unique and vital world. That exact meeting point is what we call an estuary. You can think of it as a semi-enclosed coastal spot where the freshwater from a river system mixes with the salt water from the sea. And believe it or not, that simple act of mixing, well, that's the key to absolutely everything.
So what is it that makes this transition zone so incredibly special? Let's break it down.
Okay, first, just think about the water itself. You've got your rivers, which are fresh water, almost zero salt. Then you have the ocean, averaging around a salty 35 parts per thousand. But right there in the estuary, they combine to create something entirely new, brackish water. It's this unique blend, neither totally fresh nor totally salty, that defines the whole ecosystem.
And this creates a really fascinating paradox. Because estuaries are usually protected from the open sea by things like reefs or barrier islands, they don't have a lot of wave action, which makes them a really calm refuge. But at the same time, because of the daily tides and the shifting salt levels, they're in a state of constant dynamic change.
So you might be wondering, how can anything possibly survive in a place that's constantly changing like this? Well, the answer is this remarkable evolutionary trick. The organisms that live here are what we call Euryhaline. It means they have this incredible ability to tolerate a huge and constantly changing range of saltiness. It's a true feat of biological engineering for sure.
Okay, so they're unique and they're challenging places to live. But hold on, because that's just the beginning. Now we get to the real secret of the estuary. Its unbelievable power.
Get ready for this, because it's a wild fact. Estuaries are the single most productive water bodies in the entire world. Yep, more than the vast open ocean, more than the mighty rivers that feed them. This is where nature's engine really kicks into high gear.
To really put that into perspective, let's just compare. If we measure the biological productivity of the open sea as our baseline, let's call it a 1. A Ferdinand ryegrass pasture is about 5 times more productive. Not bad, but an estuary, it's a staggering 20 times more productive. It is literally off the charts, one of the most life-generating environments on the planet.
So what's the secret sauce here? Well, it's actually pretty simple. The estuary is basically being spoon-fed a rich buffet of nutrients non-stop. It gets them from the land, carried down by the river, and it gets them from the sea, brought in by the tides. It really is the best of both worlds. And this incredible productivity, it isn't just some cool trivia fact, right? It actually translates into some invaluable benefits. You could even call them gifts for the planet and for all of us. Let's dig into what those are.
These gifts really fall into 3 main categories. You've got your crucial environmental services, immense economic value, and really important social and cultural benefits.
Let's start with one of the most vital jobs they do, filtering our water. Seriously, you can think of estuaries as nature's kidneys. So rivers carry pollutants and sediment downstream. But then, the dense plant life in the estuary, we're talking mangroves and salt marshes, acts like a giant filter, trapping and absorbing all that gunk. The result? Much cleaner water flowing out into the ocean.
And hey, the list of services goes on. Those salt marshes act like natural sponges, absorbing the energy from storm surges and protecting our coasts from erosion. And just beneath the surface, they act as nature's nurseries, providing a safe, sheltered habitat where the young of countless species, including a lot of the fish we eat, can grow up. And all of that natural goodness, well, it leads to some massive economic benefits for us. We're talking commercial fishing and aquaculture, the foundation for major ports and harbors, and providing access for farming and industry. And of course, there's all the tourism and recreation that booms in these beautiful coastal spots.
So this deep economic connection, it really highlights a crucial and honestly a pretty fragile partnership. We are deeply, deeply connected with these ecosystems.
Just take a look at this number for a second. 60%. What is that? Well, that's roughly the percentage of the entire world's population that lives along estuaries and the coast. We are just drawn to these places. They are some of the most heavily populated areas on the entire planet.
But, well, this closeness has a dark side. The source material puts it pretty bluntly when it says their banks are often used for dumping civic and industrial waste.
Our greatest natural partner is too often treated like our personal dumping ground.
So you see the imbalance here, right? Estuaries are these coastal powerhouses that filter our water. They buffer our coasts from storms. They fuel our economies. They do so much to protect us. Which leaves us with one final, really important question we have to ask ourselves. Are we protecting them?